I won a scholarship. Then everything went wrong. I won one of the highest scholarships offered by a UK university. Then they changed the offer. Suddenly, I had just one day to decide whether I wanted to study the subject I originally prepared for or keep the scholarship. Most people talk about studying abroad as if it's an exciting adventure. What they don't talk about are the logistical, financial, and emotional challenges you have to overcome before you even get on the plane. This is the story of how I almost didn't make it there. And trust me, the scholarship wasn't even the hardest part. Let's rewind. The funny thing is that studying abroad wasn't even part of my grand life plan. I wasn't one of those students who had dream universities pinned to the bedroom walls. Not that I know any that does. In fact, I first heard about the opportunity from one of my teachers. She told me there was a scholarship available and suggested that I apply. At the time, I thought, sure, why not? Worst case scenario, I gain experience applying to university. Best case scenario, something incredible happens. Then she casually informed me of one tiny detail. The deadline was in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Now, if you ever apply to university, you'll know that's basically the academic equivalent of being told to run a marathon tomorrow. Suddenly, I had to gather everything. My grades, my statement of purpose, recommendation letters, extracurricular activities, English proficiency requirements, everything. At this point, I enter what can only be described as survival mode. Every day was just application, application, application. Wake up, work, panic, and repeat. The IELTS exam was another thing I wasn't particularly worried about. I thought as long as I passed, I'd be fine. Turns out I ended up getting an 8.0 overall score. So somehow, despite the chaos, things were actually coming together. Against all odds, I submitted everything before the deadline. And this is where the story have a happy ending. You know, work hard, get rewarded. Nope. I got rejected. Yep. Rejected. Video's over. Thank you for watching. Okay, not really. Because this is where things got interesting. The university reviewed my application and came back with feedback. The problem wasn't my grades. It wasn't my English. It wasn't my statement. It was my portfolio. Now, I'm a firm believer of the phrase, opportunity favors those who are prepared, because it's true. I only got to this stage this far because I prepared years from having outstanding grades, projects, extracurricular language skills, things that are needed for my future preparation. For anyone applying to creative degrees, your portfolio is basically your golden ticket. It's arguably the most important part of the application. The issue was I had absolutely no idea what a proper university portfolio application was supposed to look like. Nobody teaches you this stuff in school. I had to figure it all out. So I did what every desperate student does. I opened the internet, I searched examples, watched tutorials, I analyzed other portfolios, and then I attempted to build one in a single day. Which sounds insane because it kind of was, I guess. Imagine trying to learn the rules of a game while you're already playing in the championship finals. That's what it felt like. Apparently, applicants only get a limited number of attempts to submit a portfolio. Fun fact, I didn't even know that until much later. Thankfully, I submitted the revised version in time. Then came the waiting. And if you've ever waited for university results before, you'll know that waiting somehow feels longer than actually doing the work. Every notification suddenly becomes important. Every email creates a mini heart attack. Every unknown phone call becomes a potential life-changing event. Then one day, my mom called me. She told me to turn my Wi-Fi on and contact my teacher immediately. At this point, I was convinced something terrible had happened. So, I called her. And then she told me the news. I had been accepted. Not only accepted, I had received the highest scholarship available for that course. Honestly, my brain completely stopped functioning for a few seconds. The funny thing is that I was actually out at a park at the time, so there I was trying to process one of the biggest moments of my life while also just exist. I was excited, happy, grateful, but also confused because I genuinely didn't expect to succeed on my first attempt applying to a university abroad. Everything finally seemed to be working out, or so I thought. Because this is where the real problem started. The original offer was straightforward. Study illustration, receive scholarship, everyone happy. Simple. Then another message arrived. The university wanted to transfer me into the fine art department instead. At first, I thought I had misunderstood. Maybe I read the email incorrectly. Maybe there was a typo. Maybe my sleep schedule had finally destroyed my reading comprehension. But no. The situation was exactly what it sounded like. I could switch from illustration to fine art and keep the scholarship, or refuse to transfer and potentially lose it. Not potentially, actually lose it. Now imagine being 17 years old and receiving that message. One day you're celebrating, the next you're being asked to reconsider the direction of your entire future. And to make things even better, I only had 1 day to decide. 1 day. 24 hours. No pressure. My teacher was absolutely furious. She believed the university had made the original offer and should honor it. Technically, there was an argument to be made. They had accepted me into illustration. Why would that suddenly change? My teacher was ready to fight. Honestly, I think she was more ready to fight than I was. If you're watching this, thank you. Seriously. Having someone to advocate for you like that means more than you realize. My parents looked at the situation differently. They focus on practicality. Without the scholarship, studying abroad would become incredibly difficult financially. They worried that challenging the decision might risk the entire opportunity. Suddenly, I felt stuck. Both sides made sense. Fight for the course I originally wanted, or secure the scholarship and move forward. Neither choice felt completely right, and neither choice felt completely wrong. I remember thinking how strange adulthood is. When you're younger, you imagine major life decisions arriving with obvious reasons. They don't. Sometimes you simply choose between two imperfect options. In the end, I accepted the fine art offer. Not because I was certain, not because I knew it was the correct decision, but because it was the path that kept the opportunity alive. Looking back, that decision changed everything. But here's the funny part. The scholarship drama wasn't even the biggest obstacle. The next challenge was actually getting to the UK. We had to wait for official documents, the CAS, the visa processes, approval timelines, deadlines. Every delay felt a bit stressful, to be honest, because university was getting closer and closer. I remember constantly checking for updates, emails, Waiting, refreshing, waiting again. Eventually, I completed my visa interview and accepted the approval. Huge relief. Then came something much harder. Saying goodbye. Goodbye to my teachers. Goodbye to my friends. Goodbye to my family. Goodbye to things that are familiar. People often focus on arriving abroad, but leaving home on its own is a challenge. It's exciting, it's new, but it's also scary. At around the same time, I received the monetary award from an education center because of my results. For the first time in my life, I used my own achievement to take my family out for a meal. And honestly, that's one of the memories I treasure the most. Money is to be shared with people you love and love you. Not the scholarship, not the acceptance, just seeing everyone together and celebrating being together. My teachers had also promised to treat me to food if I achieve a certain IELTS score. I ended up exceeding the target, which meant more food. Yay! Clearly one of the greatest academic incentives ever invented. Then before I knew it, I was boarding a plane. 2 weeks after my younger brother was born, which sounds completely normal until you actually think about it. A lot of things happened. One family member arrives, another leaves the country. Life is weird. And just like that, I was on my way to the other side of the globe. People sometimes ask me whether I regret accepting fine art instead of fighting for illustrations. The truth is, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Maybe it was the best decision I could have made. Maybe another path would have worked out better. The strange thing about life-changing decisions is that you rarely know if they were right while you were making them. You're making the best choice you can with the information you have at the time, and sometimes that's enough. But what I do know is this. Studying abroad isn't just about getting accepted, it's about navigating uncertainty, deadlines, rejection, finances, paperwork, goodbyes, and difficult choices. The acceptance letter is only the beginning. If you're currently applying for scholarship or planning to, don't be discouraged if things don't go perfectly. Trust me, my journey definitely didn't. And yet somehow, it still led somewhere worth going. Thanks for watching.